So today, as you can see, we have a GE dryer, and this issue on mine, it just stopped work one day. Sorry for the camera, it kinda misbehave itself, but anyway, as me say, we have a GE dryer. This goes for any basic dryer. All of them are basically working off of the same principle. So if you have this issue where your dryer is not starting, it can be three basic things you can check first before you get into the mindset, say, hey, me need a new dryer, whatever, because sometimes it's a very cheap and easy fix. The hardest thing may be depending on what sensor, as you can see over here. This is a sensor, or one of the sensors that control, it's like a safety mechanism if the dryer is malfunctioning or it gets too hot for any reason. It basically trips and it cuts the current flow to that area, so it won't make the dryer start. So anyway, three basic things to check, and as you can see, me have a look at drawing up this about me explain it in a minute. So anyway, first thing you want to check, if your dryer isn't starting, you open your dryer, and then on various models you find these door switches all in different places, and some models you might find them along the top here, but on the GE models they are right below the hinge catcher. They're right down at the bottom. So a lot of people say if you push this in, you're supposed to hear a click. That can be true for some, but not for all. Like mine, me always get the weird ones, but just in case you have the same thing and you're thinking that it's just you press it, if you don't hear the click it's bad, and then you press it and it's not the issue. I'm going to show the safest and the most accurate way to check to see if any one of the sensors or the switches, which you can use the same principle for test. So first thing first, definitely check all of the basics and the cheapest parts. These you can find them on Amazon. You can order them from the manufacturer, and it should be just a couple bucks, between $10 to about $30 depending on the model or the design. So first thing first, as I say, check this door switch. Depending on the manufacturer, you can find out how to remove them. Some are just clips that you basically pry out or juke on each side and clip out, or some you might have to bolt out to get to most of the switches. On the top of the dryer doors you have two screws at both ends of the dryer, so you just release those. Then you would actually have to remove this top piece, just pry it up and it comes up. It has some clips on the side, on top, and then on this side as well. And then you should be able to pull the door out slightly and then pull up, and be careful not to pull it too far because your wiring for that door switch is still attached. So if that seems to be testing good, which as I said I'm going to show you how to definitely test it using this, which is the same method that you would use. So if that isn't the issue, another thing that can go wrong is the starting switch, which basically, just like the door switch, just like your sensors, you can test them the same way. So this, as I say, going to go for a lot of things. And before me get into anything else, first thing first, plug this out. Don't ever work on any of these high power electrical items without first cutting off the power supply, and you will need to cut the power supply to be able to test your sensors and your switches properly. So make sure, if you can, make sure you're getting proper voltage. You're going to need an electrician, or if you have a decent voltmeter, I would say check your breaker first to see if it has been tripped. But if it's not been tripped also, definitely turn off the breaker if it's hardwired. But if it's not hardwired, you can come inside and just pull this out so you can do the work on the dryer as needed. So as I say, the door switch, check the door switch. If yours might be applicable for it to hear the click, as you can see mine, no clicking, it goes straight in, straight out. Okay, your start switch, which is here. Different models have different locations, and in some way the currents is your timer. This is just like another switch. You can test it the same. You have a little bit more pins, but basically the same principles of how you would check your sensors and your switches. So anyway, let's just go ahead and go right into it. Alright, so imagine that your sensors or your switches are basically kind of like fuses. So in a good fuse, you'd have a complete circuit. You'll basically be closed. When a fuse breaks, as you can see, there's an open, so there's not allowing voltage to go through. So what happens with these sensors, after a while they get heated, and inside of here, imagine you have a connection like this, and when it overheats or just gets old over time, it breaks, causing it to have no path for proper current to go through, making the machine sense that there's an issue, should put it into a fail-safe mode or a safety mode, so it won't overheat or it won't cause any other electrical issues. So fuses in your vehicle, fuses in your dry machine, your sensors, they basically work about the same, the simple ones anyway, which most of the time they are simple, but you just have to know where to check them and what to look for. So today, if you have one, we have a voltmeter, a multimeter. So today, to test these, you want to put it on ohms, and if your multimeter have it, you want to put it on this frequency ohm. I don't know the proper name for it, but basically it's the ohm testing that is audible. So over here, what you want to do first is touch the two connectors, and once you hear that beeping, that's a complete circuit, so there's no open in that circuit. So what you want to come and do now is, you have your sensors, and as I said, you can do this with the door switch, you can do that with your start switch, you can do that with your timer switch. You want to connect both ends. Excuse me, it's kind of hard to do with just one hand, but it's connected. As you can see, if you see that sign on your voltmeter, that means there's an open and it's not allowing a complete circuit. So if it were good, you would have that beeping like what you get when you connect the pins. So you want to see a range of around there. It kind of fluctuates sometimes, but if your dryer is having that issue not starting out, so as I say, more than likely it's one of these sensors. In specific, most of the time you have your high temperature limit sensor. That one I see that go a lot of times, and more than likely it's going to be that if it's not the start switch or your door switch. So as I say again, it doesn't matter what side of your voltmeter you put it on, you put it on both ends of the sensor, and if you see that OL, there's no continuity. In other words, that means there's no path for the electricity or a complete circuit. So touch both ends, and if you don't hear that beeping, once you put it on an audible setting on your voltmeter, that's the bad sensor, that's the one you need to change. And hopefully, but I would say 90% of the chance, once you find that bad sensor or bad switch using that same process, you should be good to go. After that, you just buy your part. You might can find them, as I say, for Amazon or by the manufacturer, but simple fix, sometimes cheap parts. This is what was wrong with mine. It came up to like $30 off of Amazon. So I would definitely say the high temperature sensor fuses are basically, it's a fuse. You want to, I would say, keep at least a couple in the house just in case. And then also, if they keep on blowing, you definitely want to inspect your heating element or check and see if you have an electrical issue causing a whole bunch of power surges to keep on causing these to trip, because then you might have a problem elsewhere that you need to check. But fuses, relays, they do go out after a while. You'd hopefully not at soon time, but they do, as me say, it's just a piece of material, so after a while everything kind of go bad after a while. So definitely, if you're having an issue where your dryer is not starting, check those things, and hopefully this video help you. All right then, till next time, happy new year. Boom.